Welcome to Proven and Probable, where we deliver mining insights and bullion sales in the form of physical delivery, offshore depositories, and private blockchain distributed ledger technology.
Welcome to Proven and Probable. I'm your host, Maurice Jackson. Joining us for a conversation is Freeman Smith, the Vice President of Exploration for Riverside Resources. Mr. Smith, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Glad to have you on the program to discuss the latest developments coming from Riverside Resources, where knowledge is golden. Mr. Smith, you have some exciting developments to share with us regarding Riverside Resources' footprint expansion in Ontario. Freeman, take us to Ontario and provide us with some historical mining context on the province.
I think we know that Ontario is one of the larger mining districts in the world, particularly the Greenstone Belt. One of the most famous being Timmins, which has produced several 100 million ounces over its lifetime and has a lot more to share with us. A lesser known but not lesser insignificant is the Geraldton Greenstone Belt, which is just to the west of the Timmins Greenstone Belt. And it hosts a number of deposits. The one that's quite interesting and got us into the area is the Hard Rock gold deposit, which is currently at about 8.5 million ounces in reserves and resources.
Speaking of the Geraldton Belt, Mr. Smith, please provide us some context for today's discussion by introducing the Beardmore Geraldton Gold Belt.
Well, Beardmore Geraldton, as the name implies, extends from a little town called Beardmore east to another town called Geraldton, which is a larger mining district with quite a history. The nearest city would be Thunder Bay to the south and Timmins to the east. It's probably in the order of 250 kilometers long and about 40 kilometers wide. And it hosts a number of deposits, both past and present. One of the reasons we're there is because of Greenstone's activity in the area. I think we'll probably get to that in detail in a second.
Germane to the Beardmore Geraldton Gold Belt, Riverside has made a strategic acquisition there. Please introduce us to the newest project in the property bank.
Okay, the newest project is called the Pichette. It's named after the original prospector that prospected in the area and found the Pichette showing, which was near our project boundary. It's high-grade gold in shear zones, very similar to other deposits and mines in the area. Looking at the Geraldton Greenstone Belt, this is a generalization of the whole area. The trend seems to be with mines tending along the road here. The big elephant in the room, the reason we're there, the one that attracted us to the area is called the Hard Rock deposit. It's been known about for a while, and it was developed by Premier Mining, and eventually they brought in a partner with Centerra Gold, and they've been talking about production and going into production in the near future. That deposit itself, with reserves and resources, is over 8 million ounces. So, on world standards, it's of high quality and it's an elephant by any means. Our project in particular has a very similar geology in that it has steeply dipping metavolcanic units that are plunging gently to the west. This is what they found the bulk of their mineralization at Geraldton, and it's what originally attracted us into the area. That and the general jurisdiction being high in gold. You can see all the little red dots on the map. Those are prospects where people have sampled gold and have done small amounts of work, whether it be prospecting or drilling. You can't tell from the map, but you can see that the area is pretty prolific for its gold.
Freeman, why is this the right project for Riverside Resources, and why now?
Well, as you know, we're expanding out of Canada, expanding into Canada out of Mexico, something we've been doing all summer. We like this part of Canada because of the past exploration success and the past mining production, particularly high-grade gold. The Leach mine, very close to one of our projects and close to the Pichette, is in the order of an ounce per ton, which is high-grade by any standard anywhere in the world. But also you can, if you notice looking at the diagram, there's a highway going right through it. That's one of the major corridors and arteries for Ontario. It has access, and situated right along it is a major power line and a natural gas pipeline, the Canadian National Pipeline, actually. So access to those, power, water, road, mining expertise, particularly in Geraldton and Thunder Bay. It's all kind of wrapped up in one little package for this area. International airport at Thunder Bay, maybe 2 hours to the south. So that's a good place to be working.
Which Freeman, if I may interject here, that's very intriguing for a joint venture or prospective joint venture partner there. It looks like you've reduced a lot of the capital expenditures by strategically having this location here in the Pichette Gold project.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the biggest attractions to the area. I like the idea of being able to drive my Honda Accord up to the drill pad, kind of one of the attractions for this area for sure. And as you may probably already know, the permitting in Canada in general and Ontario is excellent. Typically, you apply for a permit and you have your answer within 50 days. So right now we've got permits for most of our projects, not Pichette yet because it's just a new discovery. We've only been looking at it for a month, but we anticipate permits in place before Christmas or shortly after. Permitting in Ontario is pretty straightforward. It's a matter of filling out the right forms, connecting and contacting with First Nations, and telling them what you're going to do. And after that, there's a pretty simple procedure that you go through to get to the point of being able to drill.
Now, Freeman, one more thing that's important here is, what is the relationship with the natives there?
The First Nations in Ontario, they're pretty progressive as far as mining and mineral exploration goes. They understand the industry, so that always makes things easier in that they know what you're doing and they're not suspicious of that maybe something they don't want to see happen in their territories is happening. But these particular bands in this area, we've already discussed with them and met with them and talked to them about our projects in details. They're generally encouraging. They like to see the idea of jobs coming into the area. They like to see what they think of as their lands being developed for their future generations as well. Their big concerns are always environmental, which is something that we, of course, would be looking at and paying very close attention to anyways.
Now, what type of work has Riverside conducted in the field, and what has your attention there the most?
We spent the good part of the month of November in the colder weather looking at what had been done in the past. There has been 2 drilling campaigns on the property. Some of this core is on site, and some of it is being stored in Thunder Bay at the ministry's core warehouse. We looked at that first before we went in the field to get an idea for what we might expect to see on surface. And we spent several days to a week driving the new roads. The area has been recently logged, so it's opened up the area. And of course, logging has roads, which are what essentially are known as trenches to geologists. They provide excellent exposure. So we drove these roads. We did some mapping, sampling, prospecting, and carried out looking at the old trenches and the old drilling areas to see what we could learn there. And then we got chased out by the snow. So that was it for this season.
Now, has Riverside identified prospective drill targets yet?
Yes, we've identified a number of targets related to contact zones and faults, which is fairly typical for orogenic deposits in Ontario. This sketch here is a generalized map, but what it does show is a large contact between the metaseds and the metavolcanics. And along this fault-bounded contact, you do find mineralization. You will find mineralization here, but also in the larger faults within the metavolcanics. This one in particular is conformable with a banded iron formation. Banded iron formation is sometimes responsible for hosting mineralization. Sometimes it's in close proximity. And in the Geraldton Greenstone Belt, it seems that you always find this character playing a part of the role, whether he's directly hosting the mineralization or whether he's part of the package. It seems that the banded iron formations are always nearby. And much like Geraldton, you see these other boxes here that are described as nose folds. And in Geraldton and elsewhere, you see deposition along the nose of the folds, and you even see this in Campbell Lake and other areas where people are going back to old mineralized areas and looking at the structural geology and mapping out where this mineralization may be trending. And that's common. What happens is we tend to set up our drills and we drill on centers and continue drilling until the program is finished, not getting a chance to actually look at structural geology, which is often one of the more important components of the deposition and hosting of the mineralization. So in summary, I guess we have two types of potential hosts here. One would be shear hosted, and the other would be structurally hosted within the nose of folds.
Now, Freeman, can you please walk us through the cross-section?
This one's a fairly simplified and basic cross-section, but for the most part, we're in what is known as the southern volcanic panel or belt of the Beardmore Geraldton greenstone belt. And most of these panels, they dip steeply to the south, which it doesn't show here exactly, but those are dipping to the south. And then you have, to the south, you have an intrusive body here, which is usually a good thing to see. There's your heat source and maybe your engine for moving mineralized fluids around and concentrating them. And then to the north, which is gray, you have the metasedimentary rocks. And these rocks in themselves can be fairly good hosts, but they're also letting you know that you're close to a important terrain boundary, which is mapped by the fault there, the squiggly black lines. And this is also an area where you may find mineralization as well.
Before we close, what is the next unanswered question at the Pichette? When can we expect an answer, and what determines success?
I think the immediate next step would be getting permits. Now that we've completed our conversations and consultation with First Nations, I think we should be receiving those before Christmas. That'll allow us to either go back out ourselves or go back out with a partner. And what will determine success in that respect will be access, and we have excellent access. So getting out to do what we want to do should be fairly simple at this point in the stage once we get permits.
And let me ask you this, Mr. Smith. How about geophysics?
Geophysics is something that we consider like the next step. We've defined targets, but I think geophysics is the way to confirm and further support your theories for targeting and drilling. And that would be something we look at doing early in the new year if possible, possibly extending maybe into the spring.
Mr. Smith, for someone listening that wants to get more information on Riverside Resources, please share the contact details.
Rivres.com.
As a reminder, Riverside Resources trades on the TSX.V, symbol RRI, and on the OTCQB, symbol RVSDF. Before you make your next bullion purchase, make sure you call me. I'm a licensed representative for Miles Franklin Precious Metals Investments, where we provide a number of options to expand your precious metals portfolio, from physical delivery, offshore depositories, precious metal IRAs, and private blockchain distributed ledger technology. Call me directly at 855-505-1900, or you may email Maurice at milesfranklin.com. Finally, we invite you to subscribe to provenandprobable.com, where we provide mining insights and bullion sales. Riverside Resources is a sponsor of Proven and Probable, and we are proud shareholders for the virtues conveyed in today's message. Freeman Smith of Riverside Resources, thank you for joining us today on Proven and Probable.
The information presented on Proven and Probable is provided for educational and informational purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose. The information is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice, or any other advice. You should not make any financial, investment, or trading decision based on any of the information presented without first undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional broker or competent financial advisor.